Hello, good evening, everybody. Today we are at Dynamic Foundry Group. I am Sandeep Kulkarni. Welcome you all by behalf of Dynamic Foundry Group. Today with us we have a team from Aurangabad, Grindmaster, Mr. Samir Kelkar, Mr. Mahesh, Mr. Pradeep, and the whole team of Grindmaster. I welcome them all to this webinar. Basically, the topic is regarding automated fettling. You all know that foundry industry is growing fast, and in future next couple of years it is expected that we will be having again a huge boom because of the global conditions that has been coming, and hoping that there will be a huge market coming up to India. And to catch up that market, we require really to catch up the post pouring activities like fettling. And for that, I think this automation will definitely going to help us. And for that, we are having today's webinar. We can able to understand what kind of automation is there, what are the requirements required for the automation, and all this detailed thing. You also note down your points so that you can ask these questions, your queries, your problems, your issues after the presentation in the question answer session. So I request Mr. Varadraj to kindly introduce our today's guest of honor, Mr. Samir Kelkar from Grindmaster. Mr. Varadraj, please.
Yeah, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
First of all, my special thanks to our this Dynamic Foundry Group who initiated actually this type of webinars since our lockdown periods starting from 31st March. Now we are on to the 38th webinar. And as Sandeep ji already indicated, today's topic is fettling automation. And today we have with us a very young and dynamic Mr. Samir Kelkar, the CEO and R&D head of Grindmaster Machines from Aurangabad. He is also the vice chairman of SPMS France, in addition to 2 or 3 other responsibilities actually. It is great to note that he is a mechanical engineer from IIT Mumbai and a silver medalist. He has also completed his PG in mechanical engineering with specialization in robotics. In addition to his drive for this technology, or rather than more as a technocrat, he is also having a lot of passion to cricket actually. I understand he is one of the youngest qualified Indian umpire at the age of 15 years and 54 days actually. Also, he's very much fond of exploration to say the Himalayan expedition and all. He has done several rounds of expedition to the great Himalayas. As he has indicated in his brief history, he likes to live in the moment here and now and guarantees 100% for everything. That may be very clear from the Grindmaster products, the market leader for surface finishing machines and deburring operations actually. So it is my privilege and pride on behalf of the entire DFG team, and on my personal side, I welcome Mr. Samir Kelkar and his team from Grindmaster Machines, Aurangabad. So please.
Many thanks, Mr. Varadraj, for giving like this kind introduction of myself and my team. I take this opportunity to thank the Dynamic Foundry Group for conducting these webinars and giving us a chance to come and speak on this forum. Today, the topic that we are talking about, robotic fettling, fettling is very close to my heart because as Mr. Varadraj has explained, I worked Like I did my post graduation in the US, and then I worked in Switzerland for a couple of years, and I came back to join what was our family business in 2010. And robotic finishing for castings is what I have been working on since 2010. So the concept to develop a finishing technology for castings, it came from the visits I made to the foundries beginning from 2010, and saw that while the rest of the foundry uh, operations are getting modernized, the fettling operation was being still done in a generation old method. So that is what inspired us to take on this challenge and develop robotic finishing solutions for castings. Our company, as I was just introducing, is a 36-year-old company which is based in metal finishing and deburring technologies. Like we have our head operation here in Aurangabad in India. Also have sales and service setups in China and France and USA. Almost 40% of our machines manufactured are being sold in China, and a substantial number, around 15 to 20%, in France and USA. So like we are a homegrown but now going global group. We are in metal finishing and deburring and robotic finishing solutions. I'll quickly come to the robotic machines for the foundries. So that is for the ferrous castings as well as the non-ferrous castings. The fettling or the deflashing operations for castings are similar to machining operations. We have to basically remove all the extra material that is on the casting. Ferrous castings has very hard material. Non-ferrous castings has a soft material, but it's basically a machining operation which has to be done. Based on this fundamental, the machines that we build are built similar to a machine tool in terms of robustness, reliability, safety standards, with a understanding for maintenance of it as a machine tool, ergonomics, the cost per piece. So while we do have a robot as a part of this machine, we don't call it really we don't really call it a automation system, because it is really a machine tool which has a robot instead of 5-axis or 6-axis of a CNC. The solutions for the ferrous castings and the non-ferrous castings are substantially different from each other. The non-ferrous casting solutions, they tend to be lower powered. The material in the non-ferrous castings is much simpler to remove, whereas in ferrous castings it is more harder to remove. So the machines for ferrous castings are more high powered, have heavier duty robots inside them. So like, just to give you a comparison, the machines for non-ferrous castings are typically having 1 kilowatt or 2 kilowatt or at most 4 kilowatt of machining power in it, whereas the solutions for ferrous castings begin from 15 kilowatt and go right up to 45 kilowatt. So the power that we have to pump into these operations is very different for ferrous castings and non-ferrous castings. I would like to share here a video which gives a brief about how typical machines work for ferrous and for non-ferrous castings. So you would see here in this video a range of ferrous castings being grinded with a robot with heavy duty machining spindles. You can see that it is doing the grinding of parting lines, bumpers, sometimes also doing riser and gate cutting, removing very high flash which sometimes comes on these castings. Like here you can see how we use an offline part programming tool to generate the part program for a new casting. So this gives us benefits of deploying new part programs very quickly. Like the key feature that you can also see in this video is that because we use very high powered tools, the cutting operation is really fast. The robotic finishing machines for ferrous castings are typically 5 to 10 times faster than a human operator. And the main reason for this is that a human operator holds 1 horsepower or 2 horsepower of a spindle which he can manually hold. But in this case, the robot can hold 15 kilowatt, 30 kilowatt, 45 kilowatt. So the machining power which the robot can bring to this fettling task is multiple times more than what a manual operator can bring. And that is the reason why the robotic machine can be a lot faster and make this operation more economical. Replacing manual operation by giving the same tools to a robot is not going to serve the function, because using the same tools, the robot will be roughly the same speed as manual operation. And when the robot is at the same speed as manual operation, the economics of the whole function is not going to work. The economics of this function works really well because the robot can do the task a lot faster than a man. By using this technology, a fettling shop of a foundry, which is many times quite messy because of the number of people and the tools and the dust, can be made into a fully automated mechanized cleaning shop with conveyors to move the castings and multiple machines on which the castings are being finished. Just to give a contrast of the difference between the ferrous castings and the non-ferrous castings, I am also going to now play a video of non-ferrous castings. This video is being played to mainly give you a glimpse that the solutions for non-ferrous castings are very different, very comparatively a lot simpler also than the solutions for ferrous castings, because non-ferrous castings are typically made in metal dies and molds. So the amount of the flash, the amount of the burr is also very less, and the machinability of the burr is also a lot simpler than ferrous castings, where the burr is really hard and difficult to remove. With this, I'll go back to my PPT. Like after a short time, I'll come back to show more videos about how this operation happens. We are basically having a good experience with both the non-ferrous castings and the ferrous castings, and the understanding on what technologies they can be used for what type of a casting.
Samir sir, can you enlarge your window a little bit?
Yes, I have gone now to the full screen mode. I hope you can see it in a bigger way now.
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Like we will come to now ferrous castings. The rest of this webinar will be mainly based on ferrous castings. What do we mean by the fettling operations? We mean riser and gate cutting. We mean parting line grinding. We mean bumper grinding. Gate leftovers have to be grinded. We also mean sometimes the deburring of sharp corners and hole break-in. Talking about the sequence in which the castings are placed for the fettling operation, castings are given for fettling mainly once the coarse and all the sand in the casting has been removed. So we need the casting to be without any kind of sand on it, because the sand can damage the tools that we are using for the fettling. So once the sand is removed, the castings can be loaded into the fettling machine. Why to do robotic ferrous casting finishing or grinding? The most main reason is that it can give a productivity jump of between 5 to 10x. 5x for the small castings and 10x for the heavier castings. Then we can do finishing of very complicated shapes of castings with very high consistency and accuracy. Better health and safety standards in the fettling shop, less hazards for machine operators who are handling the machine. How do we do this? As we have said, we do this with heavy duty robots with high powered spindles, correct tool selection, which includes the grinding wheels, and a key adaptive software, which I will talk about a little bit more in the next slide. What are the limitations of this technology? This technology is economical for small or medium or large size castings, but which are made in high volumes. So typically one machine, if it can get occupied by 10 to 15 varieties of castings, then it can be really economical to run such a machine. This method, this robotic casting finishing method, is not really applicable for one-off castings where the batch size is 1 or 2 or 5. So that kind of a casting, it needs to be dealt with in a different way. The methods that we are talking of today are applicable for medium to high volume manufacturing of the castings. Deploying this technology has a technology component and a management component. On the technology side, we have tools and fixtures, we have the softwares, we have merging of the robotics and machining technologies. But also management side, we have certain aspects which need to be kept in mind by both the foundry and the solution partner in this case. One of the key parts here is that since this kind of technology is going to bring about a transformation, is going to bring about a change in the manufacturing methodologies of the foundry, it is important to approach this with a long-term vision and a plan for a few years. The beginning can be with a small step, but the plan should be there for a few years. Now, within these few years, there also needs to be knowledge building. The foundry would have to build maintenance capabilities, team members who are experts in robotics, team members who are good in machining technologies. Foundries which are typically having machine shops associated with them are much faster in picking up and absorbing this technology and deploying it horizontally. Of course, the gaps, what are there and what can be filled, can be done in a partnership approach, and we like to take this kind of philosophy with any foundry that we work with. By doing this, considering a span of 2 to 5 years, unorganized messy fettling floor, it can be transformed into a sophisticated shop floor with auto finishing machines. Typically in any many of the foundries I have seen, there are typically 30, 40 or 50 or 100 manual fettlers that are doing the fettling operation. So replacing all the 100 manual fettlers is not going to happen in 1 year, or is not going to happen in one machine. So the approach for doing this, it's going to span 2 to 5 years, where you start with one machine and then horizontally deploy that machine, make modifications and updates as you go, and have a complete change in how you're doing this in 2 to 5 years. You will typically solve the quality problems in manual grinding, such as a scratch mark, digging marks. These digging marks and scratch marks are getting more and more important on the thin walled castings which are coming out nowadays, because a digging mark or a scratch mark can majorly change the strength, like especially the fatigue strength of a casting, and putting in a scratch mark or a digging mark can lead to premature casting failure when it is in operation. Similarly, incomplete fettling, not even finishing, is again a major complaint on castings. These quality problems get even more prominently displayed or shown when you are going for more export of the castings, because buyers in Europe and USA are used to seeing the looks of a casting in a very minute manner, and can really find out issues like this which are not acceptable to them. Like now I'll briefly talk about the different methodologies that we use for finishing of the castings. We begin with the riser and gate cutting operation. 70 or 80% of the times the gate and risers are cut in a tumbling process or with heat plasma, but in around 15 or 20% of the machines that we have built, we have done the riser and gate cutting as well. Following the riser and gate cutting, we go for more heavier, like the next heaviest operation, which is bumper grinding or the gate leftover grinding. So typically when gates and risers are cut 4 to 5 millimeters, or 4 to 5 millimeters of a stock is left. So removing this 4 to 5 millimeters of bumper or a gate leftover is what we do with the robot. Following this, we do parting line grinding, which removes the parting line that comes on the periphery of the casting, and finally the face grinding. Face grinding is typically done for some faces where the flash comes out on the face. Then certain castings require hole break-in operation in which there is a thin flash, अशी पापुद्र्यासारखी एक thin flash असते, which comes in a hole in the casting, and we use a machining tool to do this hole break-in operation. Similarly, the phase grinding operation on certain malleable or ductile cast iron castings is going to leave a burr that folds inside. So we use a chamfering and deburring tool in order to remove such burr on such castings. Like what you have seen here is multiple tools. So a total of around 4 to 6 tools are required for doing 100% of fettling job on a casting. So the difference, like the first 2 or 3 tools that you have seen here will be capable of doing around 80 or 85% of the job. But really to do 100% of the job, between 4 and 6 tools will be required, especially for complex castings. Now, what I spoke up till now was more about machining and what tools to use. Similarly, let me talk of the biggest challenges in finishing of the castings. The key challenge, and this is a differentiator between a machine tool and a robotic finishing machine, is how to handle the casting to casting variations. Ferrous castings which are made in a sand mold have fairly large variations. If you take a small casting, say 400 millimeters or 500 millimeters in size, it will typically have size tolerance of around 1 millimeter to 2 millimeters. Similarly, when you take a casting which is 1 meter or 1.2 meters, 1.2 meters in size, the tolerance on the size of the casting can be 6 millimeters to 8 millimeters. When you go for bigger casting, say 2 meter to 2.5 meter, then this variation, it can be 10 millimeters to 12 millimeters. So dealing with this casting tolerance is a key challenge. Similarly, the variation in the casting to casting is not only on the size, but the variation is of the flash levels also. Some castings have a lower flash level. Some castings have a higher flash level. Some castings would have an excess metal blob somewhere where the sand mold has caved in. Some castings will have lower flash in one portion but higher flash in some different portion. So dealing with this casting to casting variations is a key challenge. And we have a very sophisticated software combined with hardware technology, which it includes robot path modification, force control, robot speed modification, which is used to deal with this casting to casting variations. The difference really between a machine that can successfully grind a complex casting and a machine that cannot successfully do this job is the software. The software combined with the right hardware to detect and sense these casting to casting variations and make suitable modifications in the robot part program to deal with these variations. Using this, we can really do a very good job on ferrous castings with a very clean consistency of the finishing operation. As you can see in this photo, no scratch marks, complete fettling following the CAD model of the casting. So generating these parting lines as per the CAD model of the casting. Typically, the tolerances that we use for the grinding parameters here are 1 mm for small or medium size castings and 1.5 mm for the large castings. So this is again a tolerance which we have learned by working with the global foundry industry, including some leading foundries in the US, where the casting tolerances are specified on the drawing in these terms. So we follow those global methodologies to check if the casting has been duly fettled or grinded or not. So you can see in this photo that after the fettling operation, the bumper has been grinded to within 1 millimeters of the base material. So that's the kind of the tolerance that we hold on the finishing operation on these castings. Now let me talk a little bit about how these technologies are combined in machines. The machine range we have is very wide because the castings that we deal with are very varied and different. Basically, for small size castings, like from 1 kg to 100 kg, we have machine models in which the robot holds the casting and the machining spindles are in a toolbox. Whereas for the large castings beginning from 30 kilos and going up to 4 to 5 tons, we have the robot holding the machining spindle and having the casting kept on a fixture. We will first see this methodology or model in which the robot holds the spindle and the casting is kept on a fixture. Typically, these machines come with a pallet exchanger system in which a operator can place the part on a pallet. The pallet goes within the machine in which the robot holding the spindle is completing the grinding operation. Meanwhile, the operator can do the load unload on the pallet that has come outside the machine. Now in this case, each pallet exchanger has the 2 fixtures. There is 1 fixture within the machine and 1 fixture outside the machine always. Within the machine, the robot has a reliable heavy duty robot spindle system, has a tool changer to change the grinding wheels automatically, is fully closed with a double walled enclosure for a dust protection and a noise protection. And the castings are kept on a machining table with a 7th axis to orient the casting in front of the robot. Like we will quickly see a video of machine of this type to get a better understanding of this machine. So just give me a second, I'll just be playing this video. Like so here you see a video of a machine which is doing a mid-size casting. The raw casting has been brought into the machine. The machining table can orient the casting in front of the robot. The robot begins by sensing the casting from multiple directions. Yes, and once the sensing cycle has been completed, it is going to take up a grinding wheel and begin the finishing or the grinding methodology. So multiple wheels are used. In this case, 2 to 4 wheels are used to complete the grinding operation on this size of a casting. This casting is typically 150 kilos, 180 kilos, and we take around 6 to 7 minutes to grind this casting completely. You can see here that the robot does complete operations with one grinding wheel, then picks up the next grinding wheel and does operations with that grinding wheel. The stock removal here is quite heavy. Like, this casting was manually being fettled in around 40 to 45 minutes as compared to the 6 minutes that the robot is now taking. So the productivity of the robot, as I've said earlier, is between 5 to 10 times manual operator. Here the robot has picked up a cutting tool, a sawing tool, and is doing this vent grinding for the vents that come on the top of the casting. And finally, it has picked up a small grinding wheel to reach the more sharper corners and areas where the bigger wheels were not able to reach, and complete the 100% job. So the sharper corners, areas, pockets, sometimes there is a grinding operation within a pocket. It is being done by a smaller sized wheel. Yeah, so with this, I will go back to my slideshow. So that would have given a brief understanding on the finishing operations. Now you could see in that video that multiple tools or wheels were used. One of the key features of our machine is the tool management system, which helps us to keep a track of different wheels being used in the machine. This is very important because each grinding wheel has a certain amount of a life, and it is being used for different volumes of stock removal in different castings. So say for example, you have a 300 millimeter diameter wheel. It has typically a life of around 8 to 10 kilometers. Now, when you are grinding a 4-cylinder camshaft with it, the 4-cylinder camshaft has a parting line of around 1 meter. So this 10 kilometers of a life on a 4-cylinder camshaft is going to be around 10,000 castings. Whereas if you go to a 6-cylinder camshaft, it will have 1.5 to 2 meters of parting line grinding. So the same wheel will give a life of around 5,000 or 6,000 castings on a 6-cylinder camshaft. Now the tool management software here, it keeps a track of which wheel has been used to how much of the length. So it subtracts which castings it has ground and how much of a length it has ground. So this helps us to give the right warnings and alarm messages, and also helps the foundry to get an exact amount of a data of which wheel has lasted how much, how many components and how much of a length. So this helps in the tool life optimization and monitoring the per piece cost of the fettling operation throughout the life of the machine. So this tool management system is a common method in our various machines. We will now take some case studies, like beginning with small castings that are done in this model. Typically a small casting, say 5 kilos or 10 kilos, cycle times are in the range of 1 minute to 2 minutes. When we go to more heavier size castings like 30 kilos or 45 kilos, the cycle times are between 3 minutes to 5 minutes. This can include carrier covers, hydraulic housings, and so on. Then when you go for heavier size castings like cylinder blocks or cylinder heads, 150 kilos or 200 kilos, then we typically get cycle times between 4 to 6 minutes. For heavier castings than this, like we have gone up to castings weighing up to 2 to 3 tons, the cycle times can be in the range of around 15 to 20 minutes. So the larger the casting, the more heavier the fettling operation, the more the cycle time. Now we saw the machine where the robot was holding the spindle and it was doing the finishing of castings. Now the second concept is in which the robot holds the castings and we have a toolbox with multiple tools on which the castings are being ground. This methodology is very good for small castings. We will quickly see a video of a machine with this kind of an operation. So like this is a video of a machine where the robot holds the casting and the machining spindles are in a toolbox. We introduced this model a year ago mainly to cater to manufacturers of the castings of a small size, because the machine where the robot holds the spindle is not really suitable for small size castings. It is more suitable for castings in the 50 kg to 500 kg range. So this model was introduced for the smaller castings weighing 5 kilos to 10 kilos, 15 kilos. So you would see here in this model that the robot holds a casting called as the PP stand, and completes the grinding and the finishing operation by using a combination of like these 3 grinding wheels. Typically the cycle time on this kind of a casting, which weighs 1.5 to 2 kilos, is around 1 minute. The multiple wheels help in doing the various operations with the right tools. In this machine, the multi castings are loaded on a pallet exchanger system. As you can see here, 3 castings are loaded on the right side and 3 castings on the left side. So the machine picks up these 3 castings, is doing its grinding and keeping them back. So for the duration of a pallet life, the operator does not have to be close to the machine. So the operator in this case can typically manage 2 or 3 machines which are doing the fettling operation. Like one pallet it comes in and the second pallet it goes out to start like this operation on a different type of a casting. I'll go back to my slideshow now, in which we show a variety of castings in the range of 1 to 2 kilos, where we take about a minute to finish the casting. For larger castings like manhole covers or sewage covers, like we take 2 to 4 minutes. And these castings can be large, they can be 30 to 100 kilos. Developing this application for a wide range of castings, we begin with an initial cycle time and estimate of how to grind the casting. We then go into the tooling design and the fixture design. We then do an application engineering with offline part programming and simulation. Like this step is very important because it makes sure that we are fully well prepared when we are deploying this part program on a real machine setup. One of the key parts here is to determine the right kind of a tools, and like the stock removal rate and the cycle time is dependent on how heavy the flash is. Like though we work with the CAD models of the casting, the heaviness of the flash is not demonstrated on the CAD models. So we typically like to see real castings to determine its flash level. Like this is what gives us a good hang of the economics of the machine. I have typically shown here a chart which displays how the return on investment for robotic fettling works out for small castings and for large castings. You can see here that the heavier the casting, the faster the return on the investment is. Like the small castings like camshafts or hand body pumps, the return on the investment is a little bit slow. Like whereas for the large castings, it is very, very fast. Typically, the return on investment calculation, we consider the major cost elements, which has the machine cost, which is around 60% of the per piece cost. Then the cost of consumables, in this case, like the grinding wheels that are used, which is around 15%. The power cost, which is 10%, but it varies a lot from region to region. Maharashtra is quite an expensive power state, like whereas a few states in the north have a very low cost power. Manpower cost, which also is again varying from region to region. Typically, the manpower cost in the US or Europe is much higher than the manpower cost in India. So for a typical large casting, for example, like say 150 kilo casting like a cylinder block or a clutch housing, the return on investment is 1.5 years in the Indian condition, whereas it is slightly lower than a year in Mexico or China, which is nearly the same cost level, and lesser than half a year in the US or in Europe, which are also more or less the same cost level. Now, when we are talking of the benefits of this investment, we look at the reduction in the contracting fettling rates. So typically the fettling worldwide is done by contractors, and the fettling rates of contractors vary from region to region. The typical rates which we have seen in Indian conditions have been around 1 rupee to 1.5 rupees a kilo, whereas the rates that we have seen in the US or in Europe in dollar terms, when you change it around, it comes to around 10 rupees a kilo. So the fettling rates can vary a lot between the US and the Indian conditions. So these are some of the things that we have considered while coming to like this calculation. There is a factor of reduction in rejection rates also, but this is very much is dependent from component to component, and company to company. Different companies, they judge components in a different way. So we have not really have used this in coming to the ROI figures that I have shown here. So I would like to summarize my presentation by saying that the key benefits of robotic finishing are the elimination of health hazards, consistent high quality finishing and grinding, replacing manpower, and complying with a global manufacturing standard. Like to deploy a solution like this in a foundry in a good way, we typically recommend that the first machine is like we would typically support the first machine with 15 to 30 days of mass production support, where our engineer and expert would come to the foundry to run the mass production with your team for around 15 to 30 days. This makes sure that the maintenance team, the machine operation team is well trained and handled well to really to deploy the machine and to successfully use the machine in the future. Like sometimes in some foundries, we have also done 2 to 4 months of a support like this in order to make sure that the machine is really well running. When a foundry introduces a technology like this, it is most important for the management of the foundry and for us that the first machine really becomes a good success, and we are committed in partnering to make that happen. So I would summarize to say that by using this kind of a technology, we can transform the foundry and the human lives, convert a messy fettling shop into a fully automated fettling shop. The technology that I have discussed and spoken about here is completely homegrown, and I'm very happy to announce that our RoboFinish machines will soon be made in the US in a technological collaboration with a major foundry maker in the US. This is one of the first times that a technology is being transferred from India to the US. So it is Indian technology which will be built in the US. I'm very happy that this collaboration has come through, and we will be starting working in this in a few days. Like we have deployed this technology in a wide variety of foundries, both the ferrous and the non-ferrous, and have got a good result in most of them. With this, I would like to close my webinar and would like to take any Q&As and also dig up videos which are of like specific applications or type of components that you would like to see. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your nice presentation. I request all the participants to go through the feedback and give their feedback on poll. I'm launching the poll. Meantime, anybody have a question, please raise your hands so that I will unmute you. Any questions? Yes.
Hello.
Yeah, Paresh. Good evening.
Namaskar.
Namaskar. Good evening.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead with the question, sir.
केळकर साहेबांना आवाज येतोय का?
येतोय बोला साहेब.
हो नीट येतोय सर.
Basically, what about for steel casting?
Like we have done machines also for the steel casting. त्याच्यामध्ये टूलिंग हे कास्ट आयरन होऊन वेगळ्या टाईपचंच करायला लागतं. कारण की कटिंग टूल्स जी डक्टाईल किंवा ग्रे कास्ट आयरन वरती चालतात तर ती स्टील वरती चालत नाहीत. पण fettling of the steel castings is also very good and is doable. Cycle times for steel castings are typically higher than the cycle times for the same size of a cast iron.
Yes, I do agree for that.
Steel is harder to remove. So for example, आम्ही एक steel castings मध्ये आम्ही jaw crushers grind केलेले आहेत. मग कॅटरपिलरच्या टाईपच्या अर्थ मुव्हिंग डिव्हाइसेसचे जे डिगिंग पॉइंट्स असतात तर ते ग्राइंड केलेले आहेत. व्हाईट आयरनची पण काही कास्टिंग आम्ही ग्राइंड केली आहेत. व्हाईट आयरन ॲज यू नो इज अ व्हेरी हार्ड मटेरियल. इट्स अराउंड 600 BHN हार्डनेस. So the cutting tools for those castings are very specialized.
I do really agree to whatever you are saying, but last time also I didn't met you, but we met some of your co-executives in 2 or 3 exhibitions. We wanted and support for grinding in jobbing foundry.
Yep. जॉबिंग फाउंड्री मध्ये मी जसं एक सांगितलं की जे हाय व्हॉल्युम्सचे जे टॉप 5 कास्टिंग आहेत आम्ही नॉर्मली हे रेकमेंड करतो की आपण कुठल्याही फाउंड्री मध्ये जर आपण टॉप 5 कास्टिंग टॉप 10 कास्टिंग असे जर स्पॉट केले आणि त्या टॉप 5 कास्टिंग्सनी एक मशीन किती पर्सेंटेज युटिलाइज होऊ शकते हे बघितलं तर इट गिव्स अ गुड हँग की तिथे ही टेक्नॉलॉजी डिप्लॉयबल आहे का नाही. टिपिकली जर टॉप 5 और टॉप 8 कास्टिंग्सनी एक मशीन 2 शिफ्ट बेसिस वरती 70% और 80% युटिलाइज होत असेल तर याच्यामध्ये पुढे डिटेल मध्ये जाण्यामध्ये इट मेक सेन्स. पण जर टॉप 100 कास्टिंगनी जर 70% युटिलाइज होणार असेल तर त्याला फिक्स्चरिंग आणि टूलिंग आणि पार्ट प्रोग्रामिंग याचा जो खर्च येईल हा मशीन होऊन पण जास्त येईल. सो टॉप 5 टू टॉप 10 कास्टिंग याचं जर अनालिसिस केलं तर विल बी एबल टू गिव्ह अ बेटर फीडबॅक ऑन हाऊ वी कॅन डू दिस.
It is a thing of debate as it is. पण if possible तुमचा टेक्निकल सपोर्ट टीम पैकी कोणाचा तरी नंबर मिळू शकेल का आम्हाला?
I will forward the details to you.
कारण का हा डिस्कशन कमीत कमी 1.5 तास चालू शकते एवढं मोठं डिस्कशन.
I will forward his number. You can directly contact them and get your problem solved.
Yes sir, definitely, because I was very much interested in this type of machine.
Samir, in line with the same question, I would like to ask the question to you. As you tell, first 5 or 10 parts in your foundry, what should be the percentage of total? Suppose we are doing 500 tons of good casting, so how much percentage should be there for first 5 or 10 parts so that it become a viable commercially?
Like I was suggesting that 5 to 10 parts they should be able to occupy the machine for around 70 to 80% of the time.
Okay.
So like he conditions are ali tar then it is very much.
Okay, so you are talking about machine hours time. At least 80% machine should be utilized by those 5 or 10 top
varieties असतात किंवा 100 varieties पण असतात. पण टॉप 10 मध्ये टॉप 5 टू टॉप 10 व्हरायटीज वरती फोकस करून जर एक स्टडी करतो आम्ही एक नॉर्मली की टॉप 5 व्हरायटी वरती किती वेळ लागतोय साधारण, आणि दॅट वे देन वी आर एबल टू सजेस्ट की याच्यामध्ये हे डिप्लॉयबल आहे का नाहीये.
ओके ओके ओके. येस दीपक.
समीर सर, गुड इव्हनिंग.
गुड इव्हनिंग.
तुमची जी कॉस्टिंगची शीट होती ना ती खूपच इंटरेस्टिंग होती. मला यामध्ये 2 पद्धतीनं प्रश्न विचारायचे आहेत. एक म्हणजे जसं आपण HMC किंवा BMC ला मशीनावर पर रेट काढतो, तसं एखादं जे आता स्टँडर्ड मॉडेल तुम्ही जे सांगितलं होतं की जे मीडियम स्केल आणि स्मॉल कास्टिंग हे खूपच लहान कास्टिंगला तुम्ही 1 मिनिट सायकल टाइम सांगितली, तर ते जे काही कॉस्ट इम्पॅक्ट जो आहे, म्हणजे जसं फाउंड्री मधना फेटलिंगसाठी मिळणारी कॉस्ट आणि आपल्या मशीनची बेसिक इन्व्हेस्टमेंट अँड टुलिंग कॉस्ट, ऑफकोर्स देर इज अ मे बी लॉट ऑफ सेव्हिंग इन द ओनली लेबर. तर ह्या ऍस्पेक्टनं तुम्ही काय व्ह्यूज तुमचे सांगू शकाल का?
टिपिकली मी जसं त्या चार्ट मध्ये पण दाखवलं की द हेवियर द कास्टिंग द फास्टर द रिटर्न ऑन इन्व्हेस्टमेंट इज. कारण की हेवी कास्टिंगच्या फ्लॅश या पण हेवी असतात आणि त्या फ्लॅश मॅन्युअली ग्राइंड करणं हे तितकं डिफिकल्ट जातं. म्हणजे छोट्या कास्टिंग्स मध्ये फॉर एक्झाम्पल कॅमशाफ्टच्या फिनिशिंग मध्ये जर एक रोबोट 3 ते 4 लोकांना रिप्लेस करू शकतो, तर तसंच मोठ्या कास्टिंग मध्ये लाईक सिलेंडर ब्लॉक मध्ये 1 robot can replace around 7 to 8 people. So the return on investment, it works better for the larger castings. Now typically जी खूप heavy castings आहेत ती फार जास्ती mass produce होत नाहीत. So we typically feel that there is a sweet spot in between 30 kilo to the 300 kilo range. 30 किलोच्या रेंज मध्ये हा एक असा स्वीट स्पॉट आहे की जिथे कास्टिंगचा साईज पण सबस्टॅन्शियली हाय आहे की ज्याला हेवी ग्राइंडिंग इज गुड आणि व्हॉल्युम्स पण डिसेंट आहेत, की खूप हेवियर जी कास्टिंग आहेत अशी 1 टन 2 टन कास्टिंग त्याचे फार व्हॉल्युम्स नसतात. सो हे 30 ते 300 किलोच्या रेंज मध्ये हा एक स्वीट स्पॉट आहे आणि त्या स्वीट स्पॉट मध्ये the machines can give the best economics. Now when it comes to the small size castings, तर त्या small size castings मध्ये you have to look at it from a combination of the per piece cost reduction combined with reduction in rejection and rework. So त्याच्यामध्ये जी कॅमशाफ्टची कास्टिंग्स आहेत किंवा मोटर हाऊसिंगची कास्टिंग्स आहेत, तर याच्यामध्ये रिजेक्शन व्हायचे खूप हाय चान्सेस असतात. सो जी छोट्या साईजची जी कास्टिंग्स आहेत लाईक 2 किलो और 5 किलो और 10 किलो, तर त्याच्यात यू हॅव टू लुक फॉर द कास्टिंग्स ज्याच्यात मॅन्युअल ग्राइंडिंग मध्ये रिजेक्शन जास्ती क्वांटिटी मध्ये होऊ शकतं. लाईक फॉर एक्झाम्पल कॅमशाफ्ट वरती कॅम लोब्स वरती पार्टिंग लाईन येते. ती पार्टिंग लाईन जर जास्ती ग्राइंड केली तर कॅम लोबचा शेप नंतर जनरेटच करता येत नाही. सो कॅमशाफ्ट इज वन कॉम्पोनंट वेअर द justification for the grinding, it not comes from the saving of manpower, but it comes from reducing rejection and rework. So हे 2 कन्सिडरेशन्स आहेत याच्यामध्ये टिपिकली.
या करेक्ट. आणखीन एक चॅलेंज यामध्ये मला असं दिसतंय की कस्टमरची जी रिक्वायरमेंट आहे, म्हणजे थोडं हा कन्सेप्ट OEM बरोबर, म्हणजे आपण जे टोटली मी इंडियन म्हणजे जे काय फाउंड्री मध्ये आम्ही जे कस्टमरला कास्टिंग सप्लाय करतोय, तर त्या कास्टिंग मध्ये त्यांना सरफेस फिनिश अतिशय गुळगुळीत लागते. म्हणजे तुम्ही मगाशी जे सांगितलं ते अतिशय बरोबर आहे की फॉरेन कंट्रीमध्ये जेव्हा कास्टिंग सप्लाय करतो तेव्हा त्यांचे स्टँडर्ड असतात की 1.5 mm फ्लॅश अलाउड, किंवा इथे हे फेटलिंग नाही केलं तरी चालेल, किंवा जे फेटलिंग आहे ते स्पेसिफिक लिमिट मध्ये दिलेले असतात. तर याच्यामध्ये सेम मला असं विचारायचं आहे की तुम्हाला हा प्रश्न नक्कीच भेडसावत असेल की ओईएम कंपनी पर्टिक्युलरली इंडियन मध्ये आम्ही ज्यावेळी ओईएम ला जातो त्यावेळी कास्टिंग अतिशय गुळगुळीत मागितलं जात आहे. तर असे तुम्हाला काही प्रसंग म्हणजे तोंड द्यावं लागलं की यू हॅव फेस दिस टाइप ऑफ एनी क्वेश्चन्स और आम्हाला एकदमच गुळगुळीत कास्टिंग करून पाहिजे?
Actually, most of the OEMs that we have worked with have been very, very happy with the kind of finish which we generate with the robotic machining technology. कारण की फिनिश एक तर कन्सिस्टंट असतो, त्याच्यामध्ये असे डिग मार्क और स्क्रॅच मार्क असे काही दिसत नाही, ती स्मूथ लाईन दिसते. आणि त्या स्मूथनेसचा जो RA व्हॅल्यू असतो, कधी कधी ते कास्टिंग फिनिश कंपॅरेटर बरोबर ते चेक पण करतात आणि कधी कधी सरफेस टेस्टर वरती RA व्हॅल्यू पण बघतात. तर त्या दोन्ही पॅरामीटर्स मध्ये द फेटल्ड surface when it is done with a robotic finishing, it scores very, very good. So काही surfaces, like in fact one of our customers has used the robotic finishing technology to generate a referencing surface for a finish machining operation. So त्यांनी machine shop चं जे first operation असतं, like which is to generate a reference face, तर ते आमच्या मशीन वरतीच करून घेतलं. So like because the finish that was being generated was of this caliber in order to do that.
Mr. Gurmeet Singh, you have some query, I think. You may ask.
Good evening, Sameer sir.
Good evening, Gurmeet ji.
Sir, I can speak in Hindi also.
Yes. I am sorry, I have spoken a little bit in Marathi, but like I'll speak in Hindi now.
Okay, thank you sir. सर मैं कास्टेक्स टेक्नोलॉजी भिवाड़ी से बोल रहा हूँ. मैं एज ए फैटलिंग हेड काम करता हूँ यहाँ पे. हमारे पास माउस मशीन है सर. लास्ट 4 to 5 years we are unable to run. Reason behind that there is a software issue, and the main issue is that robot cannot pick the tools automatically. तो सर, और सेकेंडली एक हमारे बंदे जो मैन वो है हमारे इंजीनियर्स, उनको फुल ट्रेनिंग भी नहीं है. हमें थोड़ी सी ये सपोर्ट चाहिए कि उसको किसी तरीके से हम रनिंग में लेके आए और उसको और उनको अपने इंजीनियर्स को ट्रेनिंग भी दिलाएं ताकि वो उसको रन कर सकें. क्योंकि कंपनी ने उसके ऊपर काफी ज्यादा इन्वेस्टमेंट की हुई है पर हमारे किसी यूज में नहीं आ रही.
Yeah, like we will get back to you about, like we can have a look at the machine and see what is correct in it and what is not correct and come and fix that. ये machines में the investment when we are doing, we should always have a look at its long term perspective, or 5 to 10 years, जो 10 to 15 years is typically the lifespan of a machine. तो लाइक और ये नए टाइप का टेक्नोलॉजी होने की वजह से ये काफी जगह पे इश्यूज आते हैं कि मेंटेनेंस टीम इज नॉट वेल equipped to deal with this technology. So this is why मैंने जो मेरे PPT में भी ये बताया था कि फर्स्ट 1 year के लिए जो क्लोज हैंड होल्डिंग चाहिए और क्लोज सर्विस सपोर्ट चाहिए, नए पार्ट टाइप्स डालने के लिए जो सपोर्ट चाहिए, तो व्हेन यू आर डिप्लॉइंग अ सॉल्यूशन, ये चीजों को माइंड में रखना ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. ये पर आपके यहाँ पे जो है मशीन, उसका हम क्या कर सकते हैं, दैट वी विल गेट बैक टू यू, विल गेट बैक इन टच लाइक फॉर मोर डिटेल्स. पर आप जब भी एक ऐसा टेक्नोलॉजी डिप्लॉय करते हैं तो वो सपोर्ट को एक थोड़ा सा एक ध्यान में रखना पड़ता है टू अल्टीमेटली मेक इट अ सक्सेस.
सर, give me a contact number so that I will contact them.
It is already there, sir, in the chat box. We have given Prasad or Mr. Mahesh. Both mail ID भी है और contact number भी है.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Atul, I think you have some query. You please go ahead. Sandeep, can you please unmute Mr. Atul?
Mr. Kelka, good evening. This side Atul Tandon. I just want to ask that for the blocks which you had shown, because in the bores it will not be able to remove any extra metal or some sand particles if it is there. So for the blocks, the machine which you had shown, it will be just doing a cubing, or will it be able to fettle more? Because again, for a block and head foundry, we may require manual operations again. So really, will it be able to eliminate the manpower cost out of it? First thing. Second thing, what shall be the amount of running cost approximately as per your experience for a block weighing of around 100-120 kg of a block, cylinder blocks? Hello.
Yes, to answer your first question, I am playing a full video of a cylinder block. So in a cylinder block, we can do the 100% operation also, or we can do partial operation also. Typically, to do 100% operation, the robot is going to take a certain amount of a cycle time. Now this can include an operation inside the bores and inside the hole areas also. So hole break-in, hole cut, side grinding, pocket grinding, this entire thing, it can be done by robot. Like what happens here is कि कई बार जहाँ पे छोटी छोटी फ्लैश है, तो वो छोटी फ्लैश को मैनुअल ऑपरेशन से भी निकालना ज्यादा कॉम्प्लेक्स नहीं रहता है. तो कई बार हमारे कस्टमर्स ये मशीन का एक बेस्ट यूज करने के लिए जो फाइनर ऑपरेशन है, जहां पे बहुत हल्की हल्की फ्लैश है, वो मैनुअल ऑपरेशन से निकालते हैं. और हेवियर जो काम है, हेवी फ्लैश रिमूवल के जो काम है, वो हेवियर फ्लैश रिमूवल के काम मशीन के लिए छोड़ते हैं. जैसे हमने ये मशीन देखा था, पैलेट एक्सचेंजर होता है और एक ऑपरेटर बाहर लोड अनलोड करता है और रोबोट भीतर में फिनिशिंग कर रहा होता है. तो जहां पे द लोड अनलोड इज हैपनिंग, वहां पे दिस operator can also do some fine deburring operations. So like how to deploy this in a foundry is like specific from foundry to foundry. The machine is capable of doing 100%.
Mr. Paresh, you have some query, I think. There is a...
Hello. कुलकर्णी साहेब, मगाशी तुम्ही जे विचारलं की आपल्याला कास्टिंग एकदम गुळगुळीत करून मागतात कस्टमर्स. हॅलो.
हा, ऐकतोय.
Yes, I can hear it.
त्याचा अर्थ तुम्ही पार्टिंग लाईन बद्दल बोलताय की आजूबाजूला पण बोलताय? Grinding only on parting line or other surfaces also?
Normally we are doing the grinding on parting line, but only when the customer has a request की या surface वरती पण full grinding करून पाहिजे, तर in that case we do the grinding on the full surface.
नहीं, but that surface can be curved as well.
It can be curved also. So काही cases मध्ये पार्टिंग लाइन से जो ग्राइंडिंग है, that is a normal fettling requirement, whereas in some castings
parting line, most of the time is parting line, but in some cases if there is a screw or elliptical shape, so they ask for entire surface grinding as well.
Like so in such cases, like we can do a face grinding also. Like so the machine is capable of doing the face grinding, पण कुठल्या कास्टिंगला कुठल्या सरफेस वरती करायचं is dependent from foundry to foundry and casting to casting. The machine is capable of doing it.
Okay. Okay.
Mr. Sandeep, most of the queries are addressed, and if we can conclude. Hello, Mr. Sandeep, are you there? Mute.
Hello.
Mr. Sandeep.
Yes, sir.
I think most of the queries are addressed. I think
Yes.
if there are further, you just share all these details.
Yes, I will.
And thank you very much. We are just concluding. Samir is there, and
Yes, sir. I will share all the details of your all of your 3 or 4 of you to all the group members, so
Yeah.
that they can able to contact you directly and
Yeah.
get further discussion on. Thank you very much for the presentation and the support, and all the participants. Thank you very much for attending it. So we conclude on this note,